Morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It is Wisdom Wednesday or Wellness Wednesday or whatever Wednesday looks like for you guys. I'm Erin Harrigan, your Hustle with Heart coach, and welcoming you to our daily dose of success God's way. If I haven't met you before, you may be wondering, what is this Hustle with Heart thing? Well, what that stands for is I coach people to help them attain real results for total health through my Arbonne wellness business, and I help entrepreneurs align results to God's truth. Good morning, Jenny. And it's all about how we pursue success God's way and build a God-centered business that honors Him and serves His people. So I come to you every day with a daily dose of success God's way. Hi, Jenny. And I've been coming to you for the last few weeks from this Bible study, Experiencing Success God's Way by Dr. Charles Stanley. I apologize. I'm still from my morning walk down on the boardwalk here in North Beach. It was a chilly morning, but it was beautiful. Shout out to my new friend, Natalie Moore, who met me this morning. Guys, if you're in business, you can do one-on-ones and get to know and build relationships anywhere. So Natalie and I met at the boardwalk this morning, and we walked up and down the boardwalk and chatted about our businesses. It was awesome. So this morning, we're continuing in this idea of time management God's way, if you will. And my friend Connie, she posted this morning this: busy is a myth. People make time for the things that are important to them. Organizing your time and making everything happen. Good morning, Casey. I owe you an answer. I'm going to get that to you today. So, we tend to wear busy as a badge. And I love when I talk to people about, good morning, Stacy. I love when I talk to people about eating clean, or even about the Arbonne business opportunity with being an online business. And they're like, oh, I'm so busy. You know what, guys? We're all busy. But are we busy with the priorities that are important to us? Or is that just an excuse? Okay. So we've been going through this lesson, and there were 5 keys to good time management. Yesterday was seeking God's guidance, and today is planning your schedule. So here's what Dr. Stanley says. Months can go by without you making any progress toward fulfilling your God-given goals if you don't plan and if you don't set your goals into the context of deadlines. So we've heard it said, good morning, Hope. Well, I guess it's evening there. We've heard it said that a goal without a deadline is just a wish, right? So you really want to ask the Lord daily, where does this fit into my schedule, and what should my schedule look like? So I'll give you an example. I have a lot of stuff happening today, which is very exciting. And late last night, the company that I do some biotech consulting for asked me for a particular document, and I have to rework that document to get it over to them so they can reuse it for something else. And I was going to go to an event this morning. And as I was sitting in my meditation, encounteringpeace.org, by the way, highly recommend that as a biblical meditation. Good morning, Katie. And thinking about, well, I need to do my Facebook Live, and one of my dogs is still asleep, and he's old, so I want to give him plenty of time before I take him out this morning. I was like, man, I'm going to have to really rush to get moving to get to this event. Good morning, Sarah. And I just prayed over it. Lord, where do you want me to be this morning? And what I felt was, I want you to be present. And I want you to be present in what you're doing. And so if I were rushing around trying to fit everything in, I would be hurried. And being hurried is different than being busy. So it's really about making your plans and planning to do the work that needs to be done to achieve your goals. So ask the Lord, how do I set my schedule for today, this week, this month, this year, permitting a good balance of work and rest, alone time and family time. You guys, you got to recharge. You have to do self-care. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Input and output. As we make plans, we have to remain flexible. We have to remain flexible to specific ways in which the Lord may redirect our paths. I think I talked about this recently. I know I talked about it on the gospel radio show. Good morning, Fran, that I was a guest on Monday. And And that was that there are divine interruptions. And I believe it's Psalm 37:4. Don't quote me. I'm going to look it up and post it in our reference verses that says, a man makes his plans, but God directs his ways. So we can make all the plans, but we have to be prepared and leave room for the Lord to divinely interrupt us, to move us in the direction that he needs to move us in. And that can be really frustrating when we want control over our time. So here's what it says in James chapter 4, verses 13 through 15. Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a city and spend a year there, buy and sell and make a profit. Whereas you don't know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time, then vanishes away. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we shall do this and that. So I can tell you how I pray over this. Hey, Court. Wait a minute. It's 7:40 there. You're up early, girl. So here's how I pray over this when I plan my schedule. Number one is I make my to-do list the night before, and I make a list of 6 things. Guys, studies show that we cannot handle more than 6 things on our to-do list. Like, we might make a long to-do list, but it's really 6 things that are going to get done. So what are those top 6 things that are going to move me forward to my goal in whatever that goal is, okay? So I do that at night, the night before. I have an alarm on my phone called planning time, and it goes off at 9:30 every night. So I know that at 9:30, I need to do my planning. That's when I set it for. You can set it for whatever time you want, but I make the list the night before. When I get up in the morning, I spend time in the Word. And I ask the Lord, Lord, I've made my list, but redirect me where you need to redirect me so that I can be most useful in your kingdom. And sometimes he redirects me and sometimes he doesn't. Number 3, I'm spending time in the Word, I'm journaling, etc., and I carve that time out. That's first thing every morning. I don't put that on my to-do list. Now it's a habit for me, but it's really important to me that I spend that time, and I encourage you, as I have on many of these lives, to do the same thing. So in the end, you've got to plan the time to do the work, because as you know, I think the saying goes, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So make sure you're planning, but don't make it so rigid that God can't interrupt you and then he's prying your hands off of it. And then the last piece of advice I have, and this comes from my husband, I tend to be a person that fills every white space on the calendar. If you know my kids, they get a little frustrated with that. But over the last 3 or 4 years, I've really grown out of that. So I really work to be conscious of, am I filling space on my calendar for the sake of filling space, or is it really meaningful action and meaningful interaction that I'm doing? Good morning, Cheryl. And if I feel too overwhelmed and hurried with everything I've put on my calendar, I take a hard look at what can move, what has to be done in that moment. All right. So I hope you guys found this helpful. We'll be back tomorrow with Time Management According to God, part 3, and of our 5 lessons. And I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Make it a fantastic Wednesday. Have a great day.